So while we're in the dead of winter, there's two projects I want to work on before the trails start opening up in springtime. And first one is, as I mentioned before, the front bumper. So I am in the middle of designing that right now. I got it mostly figured out. And the second one's going to be designing a seat delete with a dog platform and shelves. So that's what this video is going to be about. So one big reason why I wanted the Crewmax was for the extra space for the dogs. But as you can see, the seats do take up quite a bit of space, and I don't really have passengers back here other than them. And even with the dog hammock, there's just limited room. You kind of just lose out on space. So my plan is to remove the seats and do like a 60-40 modular split here. I want to do a raised platform that utilizes drawers on both sides, and then open cubbies down below. But I also want to make it where it's easily removable in case I need to put one of these seats back in. So for this video, we're going to take out the seats while I have the Einstar Vega. I'm going to scan the area, and I'm going to get into the whole design, show you guys how I go about doing it, how I want to do it, kind of the initial planning phase of it. But like all my other designs, these are going to be completely free, so follow along. All right, so I pulled the truck into the barn just so I'm not tromping around with snow, as you saw. I do need to take out the dog hammock, and then to remove the seats, I believe it's just 4 bolts per, and then all the seat belts are attached to the seat. So compared to my double cab, that thing was mounted on the back wall. It was kind of a pain, but these ones I think should be fairly easy to take in and out. So I have 3 things. One, for the bigger seat, if you have a friend or somebody to kind of give a helping hand, definitely recommend that. It is heavy and awkward to move around. And then second, it is just 4 bolts per seat. The only thing was a seat belt, which was just in a little elastic loop. So you pull that out and that's off. And last, I will say, between the double cab that I had, taking the seats out of that and these are far easier. And what I like about this is you have a full flat platform already. I mean, if you just want a seat delete, you don't care about storage, you just want something for dogs, really you could cut a piece of plywood to fit here and use the same bolt holes and then call it a day. We're going to do something a little different and add some drawers, add some cubbies, make it look a little more finished. Next, what we'll have to do is pull off this little sound deadening wall here. I think I'll end up reusing it. I do have some extra kill mat stuff for sound deadening, so I might add that while I have this apart. But I'm going to pop out these pins and then use the Einstar Vega to scan this whole area so I can get into Fusion and start drawing up my ideas of what I want to do. I'm unsure if I can keep the jack where it's at. Most likely won't have access, so I might have to have something behind it. I know a lot of other ones you have to hammer this thing down right here that holds the jack. This one should be untouched, but this one we might just have to kind of push down. It's just it's an easy to bend piece. That's a common thing when doing seat deletes. So we'll see. I'll scan it with it up, knowing that I could push it down flush if I really need to. All right, so if you see my last couple of videos, Shining 3D actually sent me out the Einstar Vega to test out for a few months. So figured this was the perfect opportunity to kind of get my interior scanned. So this will be another project that we end up using the Vega on. For this one, because we have a lot of broad areas, I'm actually going to use a couple different markers and try them out and just see how it does. So I have some 6mm markers that I put on some magnets. So that way I could stick them onto things like the back panel. And then I have a lot of these 12mm ones that I kind of want to test out because these magnets, they don't really stick to the carpet and there's too much foam, I think, underneath there. Yeah, so we're going to do another scan in fast mode with the Vega and just see how it picks up, and that'll help me bring it into Fusion and I kind of lay this thing out. I have an idea in my head how I want it, but I like to visualize it and see it drawn in a model with a scan. So let's go ahead and do that. Now when I go to scan it, I do want to get this whole back wall because I might utilize some of these locations here. I don't know if I want to use the bolt locations that are already there, or if I want to use these push pin locations. I do want to make sure I get the back of the seats and the center console, because I do plan in my head, I would like the platform just to stop below where these vents are. That way the dogs can still get air, and then that maximizes my room for storage underneath this area. And then when I build this thing, I do plan to utilize the seat bolt locations, and I want to make it accessible so it's easy to pull out. But my thought process is still do a 60-40 split, and then we'll pull the drawers out this way. So they won't be full width drawers. They'll just be enough to miss the door as it comes out. And then with that, just the 60-40 split. This side where it had the double seat will actually be a longer drawer, and this will just be for that single jumper seat. If there is one I'm going to take out, it'll pretty much just be this seat. I would take in and out and then use the double year round. And when I do the scan, I'm going to shut the doors. That way I can kind of get everything and minimize my gaps that I have. I'm going to place all these markers. There's going to be a lot of them, and then we'll get to scanning. Now, I don't know how these magnets will do. Haven't tested them out. So what I did is I took these 6mm markers here and I put them on, I think they're on 10mm magnets. So I'm hoping that these work. I know people will do the pyramid markers. So I just want to see if this worked as a quick on and off for metal. That way I can reuse them. All right, so I'm going to try to first do one half of it and then come around to the other side, shut the other door, and scan the other way. I just kind of need area to move without messing with the markers too much. And since it's muddy outside, I'm in my socks. All right, so it's picking up both sets of markers, which is good. We're going to try this on high resolution. I might have to drop it down to medium just to get more area, but we'll try it on this one. We're going to do feature alignment and marker alignment. So we'll start scan. And it's tracking those markers pretty good. Well, this is working good. I didn't know with the finish with the plastic and the metal how good this would do. So it looks like it's grabbing everything. These markers are working perfect. I'm going to add some scanners on the door here just to help it gain some tracking data. So I really want this top edge. I don't really care about the rest of the door. And we're going to do the same thing for the center console here. So we're going to try to continue here, finding the ones on the door here. All right, so now we're going to try to do the other side, all on the same scan. So it's tracking really good with these markers. I'm actually really happy about that. It's able to track really well between the 6 and the 12mm markers that I have. So I do need to put the 12mm ones on here, and then that way I can get this door to get the true raw edge of where this door is, because that's basically where the platform's going to stop. All right, so start where one of the old ones were. There's some areas that are red. They're just not that critical to me. Like, I don't really care about the cup holders of my door. About this top edge of the door sill. All right, I think we got a good scan here. I think all the critical areas are green. Yeah, I think it's perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for. And I was able to do it in one scan, which is awesome. I won't have to stitch it together, throw enough of these markers, and I did wish the magnets worked a little better in the carpet. You can get these sticker markers for fairly cheap, so definitely recommend them. They're kind of, once you use them, I mean, they don't stick too well after that. And some things are a little hard to get off, but it's worth it. It makes tracking way easier. Let's get in the computer, see what this thing looks like in Einstar Vision, and then we'll export it so that way we can start working in Fusion. All right, so we're on the computer. I did bring the scan to Einstar Vision. I meshed it out the highest resolution, and I brought it through that coordinate system. And then after that, I did export it as an STL file. That way I could bring it into Fusion, which is where we're at now. So here you can see in Fusion, I did bring it in. So the quality came in really good. Basically got everything I needed. I didn't spend too much time on the back of the seats. That's why there's little gaps there. You can see the origin here in the center of the seat. So I put it right there at the bottom, as close to the middle as I could. So once I actually go start drawing this thing, I'll be able to make sure it's centered. With scans, you kind of see the back side turns this orange here. and I can't really see through it. So I created these little construction planes that you can see right here on the doors. And what I did was, if you look at the top view, you can see they stop just shy of the door. And then what you can do is use those construction planes, use that as a slicing tool. And now I was able to separate my scan where I could turn off the doors. So as I'm drawing this thing, I kind of see side profiles, and then I could turn the door back on, see the other side. So you can see the right side, and I could see where that sits in relation to the door. You can see right here where the center console is and where that'll line up with the door once I go and put that in. Just so I don't have a really long video here, I decided to break this up into 3 parts. So I want to do the scan on this video. The second video, I think what I might do is go into Fusion and design it on Fusion, show you guys how I do that. And then the third video will be actually building it. So when I do that third video, what I want to do is have plans available already, so that way you guys can build along. I'm going to design this thing around that 80-20 aluminum extrusion. So I'm going to get it from T-Nuts, but I will provide all that kind of just with plans, with cut sizes. That way, if you have a Crewmax, you want to do a seat delete, I'll do it where it's the 60 part and the 40 part in case you don't want to do the whole thing. So this is going to wrap up part 1 using the Einstar Vega just to get a scan, bringing that into Fusion, and just how I would kind of go about that. And then, yeah, part 2 will be the design portion within Fusion. I realize I don't really show that part as I'm doing it, and I figured some of you guys might like seeing that. Comment down below if that's something you want to see, or if you don't care and you just want the final product, let me know. But just show you how I use Fusion for building these types of projects and using 3D scans to accomplish that. So if you want to follow along, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.